So the Buddhists talk about desire. Well, it's not just the Buddhists. The Taoists talk about it too. Christianity gets into it also. But it stems from this idea that the majority of life is spent either trying to attract or repel. I want this and I don't want that. And we don't generally investigate it too much. We just go, that's who I am, that's what I want, or that's what I don't want. So when Ramana Maharishi or Muji or Papaji talk about the ideals or the perspectives of the I am and following down that path to its bare beginnings, they get into a very interesting dynamic, because it's not just the who I am, who am I, it's the what is this, what is that, how do these things have any value or pertinence to them? Because no actions that we've ever taken in life have changed the outcome of what was supposed to be. And in that is why there are no mistakes and there are no coincidences. Everything happens exactly the way it needs to, and it pans out for the collective consciousness and the God consciousness and the self-consciousness. Self-awareness happens through the action of inaction. The less you pay attention to an outcome or a wish of an outcome, the more pertinent that outcome becomes. As we observe things, the things that we observe change depending on our perception of that observation. How we look at things changes the things that we're looking at. It's very interesting because it gets down to the fact that there are no gurus, there are no spiritual practices. Carrying a crystal in your pocket is only as good as the belief that you have in that crystal that's in your pocket. Witchcraft, manifestation, basic principles of attraction and denial. They all work hand in hand. You can even go into an idea that meditation would be pointless because you are already naturally what you're supposed to be at any given moment, and you're attracted or repelled to something based on an observation of that something. And so you have to be very careful because you can go down the nihilistic rabbit hole. You could become an existentialist. You could become nihilistic at its very root core. Because like the Zen Buddhists try to stay away from the idea of source or divine or God, whereas in more Hindu and yogic religions, you get into the all-encompassing, like Paramahansa Yogananda talks about reflecting on God only. There's that singularity that you're always heading towards. So it's really just a matter of what compels you to move forward on whatever your path may be. Because there is no spirituality. That's all there is spirit. And the reality of spirit. So it's spirit reality. So if all things are just the one thing, and that's what you're heading towards, what is the thing that you're heading toward? Is it God? Is it the divine? Is it the energy of the universe? Do you partake in quantum physics? Are you more science-based? Are you more logical? Or are you more spiritual? And there isn't anything intrinsically wrong with either one of those things. There's not really anything intrinsically wrong with any type of perception of matter. So you might be asking, well, where do I go? And that's a very good question. Because nobody knows but you. This path is very individual. It doesn't matter what you pick or not picking at all. It's all intrinsically based on the same thing: self-awareness, becoming more conscious of ourselves. And then when that occurs, you realize how futile that was to even try to get into. I'm personally a huge fan of silence and stillness, because I think silence and stillness are pretty much the same word. Sitting quietly, maybe staring at a rock wall like Bodhidharma did. Closing your eyes, staring off into the void of darkness, trying to look through without trying to look through. Yogananda said that that's where the divine is. It's behind the perception of the void that we see when our eyes are closed. And like I said, these things are not intrinsically wrong or right. You have to find the thing that works best for you. There is no wrong religious belief or spiritual belief. There is just misinterpretations of things based on ego and what we would rather have, what we desire, rather than what we want to repel. I'm sure you've heard music that you didn't care for, but maybe your partner loved, and you can't understand how that is even a thing. Like, how could you love this sound? Well, it's because we're all individually on our own unique paths, and things touch us in ways that they may not touch somebody else. I mean, isn't that the dynamic of relationships in and of itself? We look for ourselves in others so desperately that we forget ourselves in that process. And that other person brings out our karma so eloquently, so perfectly, that sometimes we look back and go, who am I? That's the reason people have the quote-unquote spiritual awakening at times of extreme distress, breakups, deaths, loss of a job. It's whatever it can do to shake up your reality, to point in a direction that makes you question, who am I? Because if you get down to the base of that question, if you find the answer, if you follow it back to its root, things will blossom. They'll open up magnificently. So the point of this video is, don't get caught up in things too much. It's all slippery. It's all wiggly. Alan Watts said, and I'm paraphrasing here, but he said the streams are wiggly, the trees are wiggly, the plants are wiggly, you're wiggly, I'm wiggly. You don't have to pretend to be anything that you're not. You don't even have to give yourself credit for where you've been, because generally it's just source trying to work itself out in whatever way possible. So being present is integral to the path, because there's only the one way. We want to pretend that there's many different ways, but there's just the one way. They all lead to the same thing. It's getting to the heart of you. And that's a long process, and it's painful. Because you got to go to those dark places inside. The ones that you don't like facing. What am I really capable of? You're capable of everything. So don't get too distraught about it. It's not meant to happen overnight. For some people it does. Some people like Eckhart Tolle or Buddha. You know, maybe they just found that divine bliss immediately. Maybe that's not your path, and that's totally fine. Just keep asking, who am I? Not what your purpose is, because your purpose will just naturally unfold. It's, who am I? That's the big question. So as always, much love.